Have you ever found yourself in need of a bunch of cards fast, but you're not real keen on the idea of mass production and everything looking the same? You'd like to customize them just a little bit. I have got a super simple design that can be used for any season with anything that you have, including scraps. Let's get crafting. I'm starting off with some A2 size 4¼ by 5½ inch card bases and some scrap paper, along with some strip scrap paper. Now there's really only one measurement for this, and you want to take the shorter side of your card base. In my case, it's 4¼ inches, and I'm going to cut a 4¼ inch square. If you're used to doing 5 by 7 cards, make a 5-inch square. Now this is just old pattern paper. It's a scrap from a 12 by 12. Couldn't even tell you where I got it from. I think it was Michael's a couple of years ago, but it doesn't really matter. Now from the square, we're going to make one more cut, and we're going to turn it sort of on a diagonal, but not corner to corner. You want to leave part of the flat side there. There's no rhyme or reason, there's no measuring, just slice and dice. Now there's actually many ways that you can use this. Remember that we used a square and cut it into 2 pieces. If we want to, we can just leave one on the right-hand side and one on the left-hand side, leaving something open in the middle for a sentiment, or we get 2 cards by just using one of those. Now I am using my very favorite liquid glue here, but you can use any of your adhesives. If you want to pop it up, you can do that too, but I like it flat because I'm going to be adding a strip right up against it to create sort of a barrier. Of course, using a tape runner is going to be even quicker because there's no drying time, but I really enjoy the fact that I have a little bit of wiggle room when I use liquid glue, and as long as I don't use a whole huge amount of it, it dries relatively fast. Now all you do is simply attach it to your cardstock. Now if you do have a directional pattern paper, then just make sure that the direction is correct for however your card's going to open. I have taken A2 top folding cards and turned them on their sides so they are side open cards. And now I'm going to take a strip of gold metallic. There are little gold dots in that pattern paper. And I'm just going to use a strip of metallic gold cardstock to finish off the edge. And I'm cutting it down to, I think, 1/4 inch. Bringing my card back, here's my quick tip. Don't put glue on the actual piece of metallic cardstock. Just use your other piece of pattern paper as your guide and lay a thin bead of glue down on your card base. Then go ahead and adhere your strip. Flip it over and go ahead and trim off any excess. Now here's where the customizable part is. Choosing sentiments. You could choose the same sentiment for every single card that you make, but that's just not my style. So I've gone into my Christmas stash and I'm just measuring it up to see which one I want. And I think I've settled on the Holly Jolly Christmas. This is a Tim Holtz Stampers Anonymous stamp set that has stencils that come with it. I'll leave everything linked in the description box below if you want to check it out. Now these are brand new stamps and they have not been used. At least I don't think they have been. They don't look like they have been. So I am going to go ahead and use my stamp platform. If you have a Misty, this is a great opportunity. Again, you can use the same one and make this a true mass production card, but I'm just using that because I know me, and using an acrylic block just doesn't work for me. Stamping's definitely not my forte. I need to stamp, stamp, and stamp again. This one is one of those. I ended up finding a little piece of debris on the stamp, and I didn't catch it when I first stamped it. So I think I stamped this card like 4 times, but you know, we live and we learn, and I just needed to do a better job of cleaning off the stamp with a glue eraser like this one before I actually used the stamp, because you're going to see there's two little tiny, I don't know what they are, blobs that show up on the stamp once I stamp it down. And you know what? It's not that big a deal. I'm probably the only one that would have noticed if I hadn't have said anything. But I'm just going to leave it, and you'll see it comes out just fine. Now, I didn't have any dye or pigment ink that was in a dark green, so I have opted for Distress Oxide in Rustic Wilderness. And I don't find that my beloved oxides are the best for stamping. They do work, and they do work well. You might have to work at it a little bit and stamp a few extra times, but it does come out beautifully. It's just, well, sometimes I'm impatient. I ended up wiping off the stamp and reapplying the ink because I was still seeing these little dots of debris, and it was driving me crazy, honestly. So I did leave all of this in, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because I want you to see that I go through the exact same things that you do. I just have the beauty of film editing and can cut some of that nonsense out. Hey y'all, I'm Wendy from Village Card & Craft, and I want to thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with me today. If you find value or enjoyment from my videos, please consider giving me a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. I'd love to have you be a part of the Village Card & Craft community. For the second card here, I'm just adhering glue to the remaining piece of that square, and this time I'm going to adhere it to the right side of my card, and I'm going to use the other piece of metallic cardstock. I thought about it for about a half second to go ahead and cut it down, but I was like, meh, let it go. It's fine. So once again, I'm just using that metallic gold cardstock, and going to go ahead and snip off the edges. And I had these leftover sentiments sitting on my glass board. These are from the Tim Holtz Vault Holiday Classic die set. This has Wish, Peace, and Noel, along with a few other things. I love the little bells in this one. But these cards came together really fast. Now I'm going to use a different orientation. This one's going to be a true top folding card. And once again, I'm getting out my FISKARS paper trimmer, and I'm going to trim this down to the 4 1/4 size square. So 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. This paper tends to be a slight bit directional because of the hearts and the reindeer. But just be cognizant of that when you go ahead and adhere it to your card panel or your card base. Once again, I'm just leaving a little bit of that edge there, probably a 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch. It really doesn't matter, honestly. You don't have to measure this. That's the beauty of this card. Now this one happens to be double-sided paper, so I'm going to get 2 cards out of it, the same as I did before, but these are going to be 2 completely different cards. Now for my first one, I'm using the little wood slices, and I am paying attention to the directionality of the little reindeer or moose or whatever it is, and the hearts. And I went ahead and found a dark burgundy color strip. Honestly, I think finding matching paper was probably the most time-consuming thing about this. And then I decided to finish this off with some Hero Arts transfers. Now this is the very first time I'm ever using these. I got them on a 50% off sale with an additional 20% off. So I think I paid less than $3 for each package, and I got 3 different packages. This one's all sentiments. And the red was kind of perfect. I chose Season's Greetings, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out so I don't mess anything up. And I think the hardest part here was finding the lost popsicle stick. It was stuck in the package and I didn't see it. I think next time I will attempt to find my bone folder. I think that would have done a little bit better job than the popsicle stick, honestly, because I didn't feel that I got good enough coverage from the edge of the popsicle stick. But again, it really wasn't that big a deal. You'll see that I'm going to go ahead and try to peel that up, and well, it wasn't stuck down enough, so I just go back and rub it some more. I thought I wasn't going to like these, but honestly, they were really easy to use when I wasn't flipping them across my desk, that is. I cut that one out. I actually had one of these little rub-ons that I cut out, and it was very tiny, and I went to take the backer off and it went flying across the room. I have no idea where it landed, so I just improvised. But so I think the Season's Greetings came out really nicely, but it still needed a little something to jazz it up, so I selected some of the little stars, and there were 2 of those little stars on the left side, and that's the one that went flipping across the desk, so I just cut something else out. And that finishes this card off quite nicely. Hopefully by now you can see what a fast and versatile card design this is. And I'd love to see what you make with it. You can make birthday cards, anniversary cards, new baby cards, you name it, the sky's the limit. Come and join us over on Facebook at Village Card and Crafts and share what you make. We'd love to see it. Now, by flipping over and using the back side of that cardstock, I'm going to get a completely different look, and I really love this plaid cardstock, and I toyed with whether or not to put green or a red stripe there. I think I opted for green. Yes, I did. And once again, I didn't really care how wide that strip was. It was a leftover. And then I'm going to finish this off with that holly leaf. This one comes from Tim Holtz Vault Seasonal Sketch, and I did offset the gold top, and then I used the gold Noel, which once again I had sitting on my desk, so may as well use it. And it tied the sketch part of the holly in really nicely. It finishes it off beautifully. By using stamped sentiments and additional pieces of the same pattern paper, I've finished off all my cards. So I've added just a small strip down the side. And for the wish card, the same thing. I've just chosen a different sentiment and a slightly thicker strip. For the Season's Greetings card, I finished off with this Have a Merry Christmas stamp and once again a strip of paper, this time along the bottom, as well as our Noel card, a strip of the plaid across the bottom and a different sentiment. I've picked out some other card making videos that I think you're going to love. Until next time, I'll see you real soon.